Pregnancy is an absolutely beautiful journey, but it actually can really be overwhelming, emotional, and sometimes a little bit scary. I mean, from the morning sickness to the mood swings, the excitement of meeting your bundle of joy, but also the fear of the unknown. And this is why today I'm here to speak about something that can give you peace, strength, and reassurance during your pregnancy journey. And that something is prayer. Hey family, welcome back to AKA Mama. This is your space where we have real and heartfelt conversations about this parenting journey. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button because today we're going to be talking about something very powerful, and this is the importance and strength of prayer during your pregnancy. Okay, so I decided to get into this topic of prayer during pregnancy because it's something that I did. And if there was one piece of advice I could give to every pregnant woman out there, it would be pray for your unborn child. Now, this advice was passed down to me by my big sister. She has twin boys, they're so adorable. We're absolutely in love with them. But then, one thing she said to me when I was pregnant was, that she prayed for her twins when she was pregnant, and they came out to be everything that she prayed for. She just realized that she forgot to pray for one thing. She forgot to pray for kids that sleep. So, I mean, there we have one testimony, and I myself, I can really testify that my son is everything that I prayed for. And I will get into what I forgot to pray for later, but I was a bit hesitant to get into this topic of prayer because sometimes people feel a kind of way about it. So I decided, just out of interest, to look up the definition of prayer because, of course, it is often associated with religion. And in the past, I never need to look up what the definition of prayer is because to me, I know what it is. But I was curious to find out what it could be for other people. Okay, so I'm just going to read the first three definitions that come up when you Google prayer definition. Okay, a solemn request for help or expression of thanks addressed to God or another deity. A religious service, especially a regular one, at which people gather in order to pray together. So I'd say this is what prayer is commonly associated with. But what was new to me, what I was not aware of before, is this third definition: an earnest hope or wish. So, based on this third definition, it would mean that everybody prays, whether you follow a religion or not. And I mean, I've never looked up the definition of prayer before, but one thing I've done in the past, I have friends that are non religious, and when they went through hardships, I asked them, not out of judgment, but just out of interest. So, when you went through XYZ, did you pray or not? And interestingly enough, all of them to date have answered, yes, I prayed. So, by definition, I feel like people shouldn't be afraid of being associated with prayer because it's apparently associated with religion. All of us pray. I wish I get this job. Oh my gosh, I hope this summer we get round to doing up our garden. So, by this definition, those also classify as prayers. Whilst we're still on that definition topic, one thing I decided to do was also type in the most important parenting advice because I can imagine when you're pregnant, sometimes you go down the Google rabbit hole. And just out of curiosity, these are like the first few points that come up. Make time for your kids, be a good role model, make communication a priority, be flexible and willing to adjust your parenting style, show that your love is unconditional, know your own needs and limitations as a parent, and the list goes on. But I scrolled further and further and I realized that there's nowhere where it's been normalized to talk about prayer as parenting advice. So, like I said, I'm a real advocate for this. And I'm just also going to show you how I did it. So, of course, after I got the advice from my sister, I was praying for my child. Um, Randomly, when I was doing nothing, I'm like, okay, when you're pregnant, you're always thinking about your baby, anyways. And when I'll be like, oh, I wonder what the baby is doing right now, I'd pray for the baby. But then I also had a method that I use intuitively that I believe could be a very powerful tool for all you mamas that use pregnancy apps. So when I was pregnant, I was using the pregnancy app Ovia Pregnancy. I must say, before I set for that app, I probably tried three, four different ones, and there were different things I didn't like with them. And this is the one that resonated with me the most. It had the kind of information I was looking for, and I could also track certain things which I really, really liked. So while this was initially just, a pregnancy app for me to find out what's going on with the baby, what are the baby's development milestones. But then soon with time also became the tool I used to make sure that I really prayed for everything, you know, that deals or is associated with the baby. And I'm just going to go into the app to actually show you what I mean. Just for the sake of this video, I added a new baby to my app because my data goes way too far back. It's just too much scrolling. And I just put today as the due date, nicknamed the baby Pocket. Don't read too much into it. So how I use this app or these milestones to pray for the baby. For example, when the app told me that there was something going on with the baby's brain, I focused on praying for the baby to have a healthy brain that's well developed. And okay, I'm just gonna dig into it. So most people know that they're pregnant from around about 7 to 8 weeks. And here it says, okay, so we're at 7 weeks. Pocket stomach is now differentiating into individual components as the digestive system develops. So I would use that, that milestone to pray for the baby's stomach, to pray for the baby's digestive system development, and that they have a healthy tummy, a healthy gut, and that in the future they're not going to have, problems with their stomach and whatnot. And for that time period, I'll be focusing on praying for that organ or body part that's developing until I get to the next one. They also have these development milestones per week. And as you can see, the one on week 7, I'll then focus on praying for the baby's heart and for the baby's blood vessels, that everything works smoothly, that they have a strong and healthy heart. They're not going to have heart problems in the future. And they're going to avoid whatever it is that can lead to heart problems. That's how I was using this tool for prayer. I'm just going to scroll. Okay, and here the umbilical cord which connects you to Pocket has now formed, and I was going to pray that it has a strong connection, that it's healthy, everything works smoothly, and whatever comes to your mind, whatever you know about a umbilical cord, you pray for it. And that really just gave me this form of certainty. And why I believe this really works is because we have a really, really, really healthy child. And like I say, everything we prayed for was answered in this boy. And I mentioned earlier that I have something that I forgot to pray for. So for me, breastfeeding was really, really, really important. It was so important that I have a good breastfeeding relationship with my child. It was one of those things that's important to me, during this motherhood journey. And I prayed so much for this breastfeeding journey. Man, that baby, he was a milk junkie. Everybody knows. Everybody who interacted with me when he was a baby knows that he was, a milk junkie. And I was like, wow, so that breastfeeding aspect, that's when I realized I prayed to God to have a very strong breastfeeding relationship with my child. I prayed that I would not have problems with the start of breastfeeding because that causes a lot of stress. Guys, I'm a bit stuck. I'm looking for the word in English. I prayed that I would not get mishtau. The word is not coming fast enough right now. And all those things really didn't happen. That prayer was answered 300%, but many other prayers were answered 300%. And at the time when I was now tired of breastfeeding, I was like, ooh, that prayer. but he ended up weaning himself at just over 2.5 years. And the reality is, when you're praying for your child, you also need to accept the fact that there's stuff that you're gonna forget. So the reason why I use this app to track the baby's psychological organ developments and whatnot was to cover as many bases as possible. And when it comes to his body, there's no way I would have prayed for all those things without using the app. I don't know if I would have randomly thought of praying for his kidneys or praying for his pancreas or the gallbladder, stuff like that. I don't think I would have, which is why I highly recommend, if you have an app to track your baby's development, strongly, implement and weave prayer into that. Just for highlighting what it is that I actually forgot to pray for, I did mention that, this breastfeeding journey was really important to me, and I forgot to pray for an ending. Um, you know, like I said, he stopped breastfeeding at just over 2.5 years, almost three. Um, I don't know if during my prayer I would have been like, oh, my desire is to breastfeed this child for 1 year and then to pray for that. In retrospect, I'm absolutely happy with how everything turned out. It was so perfect. And as I'm speaking right now, I'm realizing my next video probably has to be about breastfeeding, but I may be concerned that I'm a little too passionate about that. I'll have a think about it. Yeah, I forgot to pray for, for the duration. But like I said, there's always going to be something that you forget. So if you are pregnant right now, I'd really love to encourage you to pray for your pregnancy, pray for your baby to be healthy, to be strong, pray for your baby to be blessed, and pray for all the wonderful things you wish for your child to get, because they absolutely deserve it. But yeah, in general, I'm curious in finding out, did you guys pray when you were pregnant? For those of you that have watched this, and if you are pregnant right now, are you praying for your child? Have you prayed for your child, or do you have different views to what I just said in this video today? If this video blessed you, give it a like, hit the subscribe button, and like I said, I'm really interested in hearing from you. Drop a comment below. I'm going to take the time to read each and every one of your comments. And for those of you that are pregnant, I wish you all the best for your amazing babies. You can really do this. Thank you for watching this far, and catch you next time.
Like, comment, subscribe, and share.